And as you're waking up this morning or getting going this afternoon, the wind is still blowing, and this is what folks at Eagle Ridge Golf Club are doing. You can see they are working on cleaning up their front yards as there's debris, branches, leaves, and you can see on the left side of your screen where that gentleman in the red shirt is, looks like a tree has fallen over. This is the scene across that area, Eagle Ridge Golf Club, which is just south of Daniels Parkway in the Briar Cliff area in Fort Myers. Trent, you said it appears to be, hasn't been confirmed yet, but just from all the damage you've seen and, you know, having done this for a long time, it looks like a weak tornado touchdown in this area.
Yeah, there's several factors you look at. One, you heard the interview from Andrew Shipley from the gentleman at the National Weather Service in Tampa. They did have some radar indications this morning. There was some weak gate-to-gate shear, which shows the winds rotating in a thunderstorm. You have winds inbound and outbound. It wasn't enough for them to pull the trigger on an actual tornado warning, but now what they're going to do is they're going to go back and look at the radar data because they can pinpoint that with GPS. They can get the images coming in from crews like us and also from their emergency management partners in Lee County, and they're going to follow that radar track and that path, and it's likely a tornado just because of the setup. That storm was 100% putting down a huge waterspout over the water earlier today. Thankfully, it weakened before it got on shore, and what they'll do as well is they'll look at the type of damage that that storm produced. And from what I'm seeing from Elise and Calvin and our crews in the area, whenever you get those branches twisted and snapped off about halfway up, it's everything that in my training as a storm chaser and someone who's assisted in these surveys, it's a tornado. It's just how strong is that tornado? How long is the path? And that's something that we're going to have to be patient for. They're going to send crews down. They come down with their GPS surveys, and they'll come down with cameras, and they'll map it out. That's if they decide to send a crew, because as we heard in the interview earlier, the emergency management officials may be able to provide that information to them remotely from here to Tampa.
Yeah, for sure. And Elise is also in that area of Eagle Ridge Golf Club, where we're seeing most of the damage. And, you know, even to the untrained eye, if you will, like you said, Elise, a lot of the people who live in that area, they are dead set and sure that this was a tornado. Something, like you guys said when you arrived on scene, went through there.
Amy, that's right. As soon as we got here, my photographer Kevin here behind the camera said something happened here, something came through. I've covered tornado damage before, and you could totally tell something happened. Neighbors tell me that they woke up to around 6:15, 6:30 this morning, and they heard a freight train. That's something you often hear as well. I just spoke with firefighters here on scene. They say the National Weather Service is saying they are looking into this as a tornado because it is tornado-like damage. Again, we're near the golf course, and what we're seeing when we're walking everywhere is just golf balls that are all split in half. This is among so much more debris. There's nails from roofs that are all over the ground. I know we're going to take you over here. Kevin, be careful when we're walking over this tree that literally was just ripped out of the ground. Actually, we still see its roots. Something we're also having to be careful of throughout this area is you can see, I mentioned that roofs were taken off. We can see, you know, all of this just damage everywhere around us. But look at the metal. This is what we need to be careful about, and same with neighbors, everybody through this area. That's why there's so much law enforcement, firefighters here, because look at these gutters that were just ripped off somebody's house. As we're trying to figure out exactly which one, we could see nearby, but we don't even know whose house this came from. But these winds are picking back up. We just have to be careful none of that stuff, you know, flies out of these trees. Look at this sign. I mean, it's like a heavy metal sign. I mean, to give you a better idea, this is the kind of debris that we're looking at. Again, wood all over. You can see the insulation here. Crews are out here right now because it did happen around 6:15, 6:30 this morning. They've had time to come out, start to assess what's going on. Other fire departments I spoke with here, they say that there's condos on the other side, and they say a few of them are not livable. Glass everywhere. They say we can't really get to that area right now. You can see what they're doing right now. This is new. These crews that came out here that are trying to cut this tree more. Again, I keep having to close my eyes because the debris just keeps flying all over the place. We spoke with someone earlier where actually their car was ruined, if you'd like to hear that right now.
Yeah, no, my father-in-law woke me up with a phone call at 6:50 this morning, and he asked me, "Are you okay?" I said, "I'm fine," because I lived right down the street. It didn't hit my house, but he said a tornado went through our neighborhood. And yeah, damage on the roof, car, right down their street, whole bunch of damage.
Yeah.
Yeah, and roofs are taken off. Fun stuff. Happy Christmas.
Again, just talking about those roofs, you can see right here, I mean, this is just too heavy for me to even really pick up, but you could see all of the nails behind here, and this is just the damage that we are walking through right now. I know one of the firefighters ran over and said to be careful when we're right here. Again, this is near the golf course. They said this kind of blocks those balls from going past this area onto the roadway and hitting those houses, but that is just being held up. If Kevin can kind of zoom in, it's being held up by basically just one line right there. So, I mean, there's a lot of damage here. I'm being told right now the only injury they've seen is a minor hand injury. Everybody says, you know, thank God. They're saying this is right before Christmas. I mean, just a scary situation. Neighbors who have been here for 20 plus years, never seen anything like this. Again, they are describing this as a freight train that came through this area around 6:30 in the morning. So they are saying that they 100% believe that this was a tornado. The firefighters, again, are saying that the National Weather Service are saying that they are looking here. They have to send people out here to actually assess that. But they're saying they're treating this as tornado-like damage. Trent, again, he was talking about those branches. That's something that you see when a tornado goes through an area, that they're ripped off the top of these trees. We see palm trees that are just snapped in half throughout this area. We're hearing that another carport fell and totaled cars over there. Again, we're still just walking through this area trying to see what we see firsthand, but neighbors say that they're glad that they are not injured. Neighbors over here hid inside their bathrooms. Again, it's always really just weird and odd to see if it is a tornado, how just certain areas, like that house over there, looks fine. Those neighbors are basically just raking up some leaves, getting rid of some debris in their backyard. You have other neighbors over here where part of their roof was torn off. We're hearing, I'm trying to see exactly how far the damage is. We're hearing it maybe a mile or two, but down the way there's a lot of those pool enclosures that are completely crashed into people's pools. So again, people are just really trying to assess what's going on, trying to make sure that they're safe. We know a lot of people walk through this area around 6:30 in the morning, so luckily we're not hearing of more injuries, just a minor hand injury. But again, we'll continue to keep you updated. I know we keep going live on our social media as well, and we'll continue to stay out in this area and see what else we can find, but try to avoid this area. I know we've seen a lot of cars coming through to try to see what's going on, but there's a lot of glass, nails everywhere, so if you can, try to stay out of this area unless you actually, live here right in this area. In the meantime, we will send it back to you in studio.
All right, Elise, great coverage there in Fort Myers. One other note about the car she showed us that had the tree fell on the roof. That was a brand new car bought just a couple of days ago as a Christmas present.
Ugh, you hate to see that, but I guess you have to look for the silver lining. She said so far we're only hearing of a hand injury right before Christmas. So, we got to look at the upside for sure.
Yeah, and a lot of times when situations like this, you get more injuries in the cleanup.
Yeah.
Same thing with hurricanes than you do with the actual event. So hopefully everyone is being safe out there. Take your time with the cleanup here today.